Hey everybody, it looks like we're live this evening. Wow, my new lighting is working too. Let me see if I can improve that a little bit. I have even more lighting. Oh yeah, that's even better. How is everybody today? Whether it is in the morning, afternoon, or evening where you're at, I want to say thank you for joining in today. Today, we are going to be talking about an interesting subject, something that occurred to me over an article that I was reading. It was an article that was talking about Gibson, my favorite subject to talk about. Guys, I don't have I don't have a thing against Gibson per se in terms of their history and their instruments. I just, when I took the time to dig into the salaries that they pay and then looked into the cost of living in the immediate area around the factory there, and I just couldn't see how they could justify some of the stuff, $9 an hour on the low end. And that's not going to cut it when you're talking about, a $1,500 a month, studio apartment. So that's kind of my thing with them. And every now and then they'll come out with a real doozy like this one, where apparently you can, I read it twice just to make sure I'm reporting this correctly. Apparently, you can order a Gibson USA standard. So, go down to the Guitar Center or online, Sweetwater, wherever you can get this guitar. The USA standard, and they are selling them with the option of quadruple A tops that they're giving on limited offer for $2,999. I do believe the current price for the USA standards are around $2,700, $2,699. So you might as well say $2,700, and you might as well say $3,000 for $3,000 for a $300 premium. You were getting a certified AAA top, two tops bourbon, and your usual cherry burst. The thing is that you can't see the guitar before they ship it to you. You don't get a picture of it. You don't get any kind of anything on it. The pickups it comes in two styles. Their 50s and their 60s. The 50s, I believe, has the Burstbucker 1 and 2 in it. Did I say that right this time? Burstbucker 1 and 2 in it? Well, I'm getting better at that. And the 60s has a 61 R&T. The same pickups I had in my 60s when I had the standard 60s. I had 61R and 61T in it. I really dig those pickups. Those are great pickups. But I digress. Sight unseen, you pay $3,000 in, and someday it'll appear on your doorstep, and you get to see it for the first time. And a lot of people, of course, are complaining about this, saying, "Hey, I put I put it in the checkout basket, and I don't even get a picture of it. I just ordered a Unburst 60s. Yeah, you know what? Those Unburst bin are really nice. I was looking at a 50s Unburst because I like the fatter neck on the 50s, and really nice, really really uber nice. So yeah, a lot of people are complaining I'm paying $3,000 and I have no idea what's going to show up at my front door. And I started thinking to myself, well, this is a sign of the times. This is really where things are headed. I started thinking about when I was younger, and what it was like 20 years ago to buy guitars. Now, 20 years ago, I was in Japan, which is like a guitar mecca. It's like the place to be. So I was lucky in that regard. But this sight unseen Gibson deal is no different than ordering a guitar from Thomann here in Europe or from Guitar Center. Now, Sweetwater, they'll send you pictures. They're really good about that. But to be frank with you, that is not a universal thing. Very few shops will do that. Sometimes they'll take a picture of the guitar, and sometimes it'll just be a stock photo. So it's really dealer's choice in that regard. And 20 years ago, of course, there was none of this. Mail order guitars are nothing new. If you go back to the 1970s, to some of the guys who were trying to recreate those 58, 59, and 60 bursts by ordering special orders through Gibson, then you would contact them and order one of these from them, and they would send it to you. And these actually turned out to be some of the best recreations prior to the custom shop. What was that? Gear, guitars and stuff, or something like it was the name of the company. I'm trying to bring mine. And another funny little side story to that with these guitars. You have to remember back in the day, we talked about this with pickups, that people in the 70s did not find the stock PAS from the 50s and to be hot enough. They really started going into the secondary market. That's where it really started, when you started getting into, super distortions. Everybody was ripping out those PAFs and putting in super distortions. So much mail order catalog guitars too. That's right. You can even go back. Thank you, Noodle. And you can even go back to the 50s. My uncle Carlton, who I spoke to, he is a guitar player for Fats Domino. He's played for everybody. And he and I were talking this morning, and we were talking about that. He got his first guitar through Sears catalog. So the mail order, the idea of buying something sight unseen is nothing new. We're talking about over a half a decade now that this has been going on. And getting back to those 70s Gibson guitars. So this guy, he had literally a box of PAFs where he had ripped them. Customers that come in with their Gibson said, "Hey, get these PAFs out. I want super distortions put in." And he literally had a box of PAFs and the original 58, 59, 60 PAFs. And as a bonus, if you ordered one of these guitars from him through the mail order, he would take out the stock Gibson. At that time, they were T-tops, the T-tops out of the Gibsons, and put in these original, PAFs. So these gears and things, gosh, I can't think of the name of the company right now, but they had an ad in the back of Rolling Stone. They had an ad in the back of a lot of so it was a mail order kind of thing. And whoever got those guitars, they got the closest thing that you're going to get to the guitars that they were trying to mimic. And they were Gibsons, so they were ordered from the Gibson factory. So yeah, this concept is nothing new, but there are some downsides to it. Now, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, let's go back to LA, if you guys don't mind. Let's travel back in time into the. There was an episode of The Flash where Barry went back to like 1985, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, what is that? Is that a telephone? I've never seen." It's like it wasn't that long ago. I guess in a lot of guys' minds it is, but to me it seems just like yesterday. But when you went into the Guitar Center in Hollywood, or Sam Ash, or any of those stores, you got something that really made the effort of taking the drive down there. You got a lot of cats in there who were really Laurel Canyon, my favorite spot. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, growing up, that Guitar Center, that Sam Ash, as you go up Laurel Canyon, there's a Tower Records there. So that Tower Records, I don't know if it's still there anymore. That area, I lived up there actually. I lived in that area. I had an apartment there when I was about 24, just before I went to Japan. So about 20, from 23 to 25, or 24 to 26, something like that. 2 years. And really, the guys in the shop, they were musicians working, playing on the Strip, all the clubs at night. And during the daytime, their gig was working in those stores. And when you walked into that store and you asked a question about whatever piece of gear, these guys were super knowledgeable. I was just talking to my brother about that, and I was going. Well, I'm going to talk about this on Sunday. You have any thoughts? And he said, yeah, the big difference now when I go into the whatever store and I ask these guys, do you know what a MIDI cable? They have no idea what I'm talking about. The knowledge base that those stores used to have has been lost. Because of wage, because of the conditions, those jobs back 30 years ago, they were grueling. They didn't pay a lot, but you could take a break in between. You could go out and have a smoke. You got to be around a lot of cool gear. You got discounts, so that helps you out with your bands and things like that. So these guys were really super knowledgeable. And honestly speaking, that's something that's kind of missing. Sure, you can go online, even here with Tom Mon, I can get, in live chat with a service rec and ask questions. But it's not the same thing of having a guy in the store saying, "Yeah, I know you came in here for this, but check this out." And you're like, "Whoa, I didn't even know about that. I had no idea." Nowadays, you have to do your research on the web. You really have to know what it is that you're buying before you walk into the store, or you're subject to whatever. And so, yeah, there was a lost thing there when I don't know when it happened, but it certainly happened. Uh, you know. Down in LA, there was West LA Music, and Mark Spiewak was there. Mark, that works for Gibson now, he worked in the guitar department, and I talk to those guys all the time. It's funny seeing Mark doing these Gibson things now, but I remember him when he was working, Mark Agnesi, when he was working down at West LA Music. You'd be over there, Mark Agnesi to guitars, or Mark Spiewak for audio. And these guys were obviously extremely knowledgeable about what they were selling. So we've lost that. The other thing that bothers me is about guitar weights. With any guitar, I'm always looking for the lighter ones. I'm a strong believer that the lighter the guitar, the more resonant it is. Basswood, mahogany, maple, whatever. You should always shoot for the lighter ones. I've told you my story about my friend who had the log guitar. This guitar here behind me, the Harley Benton TE80, the Prince Horner copy, that actually has been donated to charity. It's going to a charity that is giving instruments to refugees from the war in the Ukraine. So that will be I've already contacted them, and they'll be getting in touch with me and tell me where to send it to. So it'll be going to somebody who, you're like running from tanks. You haven't got time to grab your gear. So I hope it goes to a kid or somebody who appreciates it. It is a heavy guitar. I wish that with the point of it, I wish that when I ordered it, I could at least felt, because they're never always the same. There's always going to be variations in weight. Even with these Harley Bentons, they're generally heavy. Sometimes you can luck out and get a heavy one. If I had gone to the store and I could have grabbed a couple of them and felt them out, I would have liked that a lot better. When you get a guitar in the mail, it's really catch. And with this SG Epiphone that I got, that guitar was a Rush guitar. You could tell just the construction, and we had to put it back together again properly. But the pieces of wood that they used, I just think that they were leftover pieces of wood. I've got a Dragon Jimmy Page Telecaster, which is gorgeous, but it's got to weigh 10 pounds. Yeah, man, I told you about my Fender Jazz bass that I sold with my collection, my 70. Mind you, part of that also because back then there was no knowledge base accessible to the consumer. Yes, yeah. The internet, again, the internet didn't exist, and it was all word of mouth. With guitar strings, oh man, what does Paige use? Well, Paige uses nines or eights. Okay, so I'm gonna go light. Well, what does Jimmy Ray Vaughan play? Well, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Well, he plays 12s and 13s. So you started getting to these mythoses, and that's where the confusion and a lot of the stuff that's just not true. A lot of long net tenons, short net tenons, this wood, that wood, this cone, that cone on your Celestins, your greenbacks. All of that stuff came out of the fact that there was no knowledge base where a bunch of guys got together and started smoking out the truth and saying, hey, this is the fact, this is what happened, this is not, this is hearsay, or even in the case they can go exactly to an archive, pull up the film, put it up for everybody to read, or in some cases go to the actual musicians and talk to them. So yeah, a lot of things go into that. So weights, yeah, I find that the guitars are really important to me if they have a lightweight, and I can't do that online. Now again, and Sweetwater, well, Sweetwater only represents a small portion of the rest of the world, and the rest of us in Asia and Europe, we're not getting that kind of service. It's not going to happen. Returns. If I buy a guitar pedal from the Guitar Center back in the day, back in LA, when I was a kid, I could always take it back and say, hey, this is not working out, or this is broken. And right there on the spot, they'll swap it out for me, or they'll give me a refund, or they'll say, hey, why don't you try this instead of something? And it's same day. Yeah, I had to, drive up there, whatever. Actually, when I was living there, I just literally had to walk around the corner when I lived in Hollywood. But it really was an advantage. Now, I had a recent thing which is going to segue into our next discussion tonight. I had to return something to Tomon that wasn't working this week. So I had to first contact them and say, hey, this is not working. It's brand new. Just bought it's been sitting around. I bought it in January, but it's sitting around in the box. Haven't touched it. I just now plugged it in, and guess what? It's not working. Well, we're going to send you a return label, box it up, take it down to the post office, send it off. We're going to send it to our repair center and see what they have to say. Yada, yada. 4 weeks we're talking about, if I'm lucky, a month. If I'm lucky to get some kind of response back on this. And again, like I said, that's just, I'm glad it has a good warranty on it. That is something. In the stores, when I was growing up, I think it was 15 days. Very rarely was it 30, but sometimes big chains. Yeah, that's a pain. And it's something that we'll talk about here in a minute. But returns are not a simple thing to do either. And so there's a lot of downsides to today's buying guitars online versus back when I was a kid when you had to go to the store. Now, as Newland was saying, in the 50s, you lived out in rural country areas and you had to order stuff. Unless you were in Chicago, New York, or LA, it just wasn't happening for you in terms of getting something. So we see in time that this concept of going into stores actually only lasted a very short period, the end of the 20th century. We are now moving into this model where you order something, it's a click away, and you give them your card, you get paid, and they get paid, and they send it to you, and you check it out, and you show it on YouTube. Hey, look at this, my unboxing, look what I got. And then when the cameras are out, you really start to look at it and say, hey, wait a minute. This thing's, everything is great when you first buy it because you're excited. It's like Christmas in June, because you just got it, you unboxed it. Very rarely have I opened up any one of these unboxing, these guitars that I've unboxed recently and had a sad face. I was like, wow, this is a lot. Actually, In a lot of cases, I was surprised the way they initially looked. However, once you start, going through it with a fine tooth comb, it's not so pretty. Sometimes it's good, sometimes not. So yeah, you lose something. You guys have lost something there. If you didn't have it, and I do believe the big box stores are it's just getting smaller and smaller. Uh, Specialty stores like the Axe Palace that I went to and did the interview on the channel. If you guys haven't seen the interview I did with Nick Yofe, the owner of Axe Palace, this last week. Check it out. Guys like him who specialize in certain guitars and certain types of amps are always going to be in demand. So you can always rely on going to that type of place. But the charm of going to a store, a mom and pop store, or wherever, talking to somebody who really, really knows what they're talking about, who can even give you a better recommendation, or even if you're interested in a certain guitar, say, hey, you know what? That one's got a couple of problems with it. If I were you, I wouldn't buy it. He's just not into, hey, yeah, man, take it away. Go ahead and you find out that it's got a, twisted neck on it, or the truss rod's played out. So there was a certain charm that's been lost in that, and it's a sad thing to see it go. Sure, there's progress. There's of course upsides to being able to order online, but you do lose some things there. All right, on to my next subject. Segueing to that. Oh, so as you guys know, I talked to you last week that I was getting a new object for the studio. Something to help me to do demos so that I can run it into my computer here and get a more accurate signal going. And yet still retain the amp tone that I like by playing through my amp when I was doing it before. And that is the two notes. So I got the Torpedo Captor 8 in, and this thing is pretty cool. Everybody says, oh, it changed my life. It changed my life. I don't know if it changed my life, but there are some things, advantages that it has in my recording setup that are pretty cool, actually. Again, like I said, I can start using the few tube amps that I have, which actually is leading into the next problem that I'm saying to myself, but you know what? My Wangs, I don't know if you guys saw it. I had a Wangs tube amp head that I had custom made in order from China, and I got an offer for it. And a friend of mine wanted it, so I sold it, and I just regret it. Again, a tale of woe, a piece of equipment that I wish that I hadn't let go, because I souped it up. I even gave it to him with the vintage tubes in it and the mods that I made to it. And he's digging it to this day. I know it's in a good house, a good home, and I know where it's at, so that's kind of gives me a little bit of peace of mind. But now it leads me to understand that I would like to have more. I don't want to have the Laney in here. I don't want to look at. I like having that in that room because I sit there and I practice. It's just a nice open air room to play in. And I'm on the top floor, and it's a stone building, so nobody can hear me anyway. I don't play bedroom levels. And I need another amp. So you see, you buy a piece of equipment, and then it leads you into having to buy another piece of equipment. And that's the real, evilness of gas. Is that, it leads you, one piece leads you to another. So anyway, in the meantime, I was thinking, okay, well, you bought this for your pedal board because, as you know, I had an ampless pedal board where I was running just preamps into the Cab Zeus and then into my computer interface. I like the tone of that. It's all solid state tone, except for when I used my one tube pedal. I'm in a similar boost. I live in an apartment. I just bought the Barara. Oh yeah, the Bugara. Yeah, yeah. This thing. Well, let's get into that. But before I digress on my digressing, I just really thought to myself, this is for your pedal board. And as you guys know, I had that Electro Harmonix 5mm. The 5mm is a 2.5 watt amp and a pedal. No, the pedal size, is actually same size as this pedal. Same size as this 2.5 watt amp. And I bought that January, February with the intention of, again, setting up an amp pedal board, progressing from the preamp pedal board to an amp pedal board. But I was saving up to get the torpedo here, the 2 notes. So I got the opportunity to get that Electro Harmonix pedal first, and it's just been sitting here. As you guys go back and look at some of the videos I've done live streams, you'll see it just sitting there. I never touched it. Well, the 2 notes came, and I started setting. I actually shot a YouTube video. I guess I'll still put it up. It's still kind of valid, where you can see me assembling this amped pedal board. It's the Legend Amps F1 going into the Blues Breaker, and then the Blues Breaker feeding into supposedly the Electro Harmonix 5mm, that into the 2 notes, and then into the Cab Zeus, and then to my computer. That was the arrangement. The 5mm, the minute I plugged it in and set it up, it got that now that means that something's busted inside. Now I'm using speaker cable. Guys, as you know, don't use instrument cable when you're making those kind of connections with attenuators or power amps or anything, that you'll blow your equipment. You have to use really high quality speaker cable, which I have. And yeah, I got that. Okay, so you got to do a little diagnosis. So you run through the board. What could be causing this? Go through every step, like they teach you in engineering school, or in my case, interning, and came to the conclusion that it was the pedal itself. It was a bad pedal out of the box. Again, getting back to the first story, I really wish that I could just get in my car, get on the tram, go to the music store, say, hey, you guys sold me this, it's busted. I'm trying to put together a board, I'm trying to do YouTube videos, I'm trying to do some things here, a couple of things here, but no, that's not the case. I had to go through the return policy with Tomon, and they're telling me it's going to be a month before I even know whether or not they can do anything with it. Thank gosh I have the Joyo band amp. I don't know about using speaker cable. I'm glad you mentioned it. Yeah, seriously, do not use instrument cable to connect attenuators or load boxes, something like the 2 notes or this power attenuator I have sitting up here. You need speaker cable, a 1/4-inch speaker cable. The most expensive one in this case, this is when you want to spend some money. You always want to spend your money on your connectors, your cables. Don't cheap out on your cables. That's your signal path. That's what's going to go to tape. That's what people are going to hear. But yeah, definitely don't use instrument cable to make those kind of connections. So anyway, ran through it, and yeah, it's the pedal. Thank God, like I said, I have this Joyo little 20 watt amp up here, so I was able to at least run it through that and use that as the power amp for the moment, just to see how that sounds, to see if I like the tone of that, to see if that's something that I like. And the jury's out on that. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm glad I have the 2 notes and I have uses for it, but the double, the F1 or even this Joyo California sound, which mimics a Mesa Boogie amp, going through the Blues Breaker and then into the Cab Zeus, I like the tone of it. You know, you can do some stuff in your computer to warm it up. There's a lot of things you can do with that tone. I'm trying to decide whether or not I like it. I haven't really had the chance to play with it. I was mixing again. Saturday is my mixing day. Saturday is the day that I'm Friday night. Saturday is my mixing, my recording, finishing of mixing days. Start recording a song Monday, Tuesday or so. Like right now, I'm getting ready to start a new track. I'll do the tracking through the week and maybe take a break on Thursday or so because I get burnt out and I'm working in the evenings. And come Friday, cut the vocals, Saturday mix. And so I was mixing yesterday and just came to the conclusion that that tone that I'm getting, just from the combination of the preamps, is pretty doggone good. I'm happy with it. So yeah, you know, the two notes is in town. I have one. I'm not in the Stone Ages anymore. I actually got something like that. Its usefulness will be great, as I said, for doing pedal demos. Regardless of you know of how we end up amping this thing. Like I said, I might just have to go out and buy myself you know something small, a lunch box, and maybe a little bit bigger, of course, than that Joyo, but something along the lines of that Wang that I had, a good 20 watt, maybe 30 watt head that I can just sit here and have that running. Not to say that the Joyo's not bad. Actually, it's a 20 watt amp. It's great. It's got a good clean channel. I just use it as a power amp. But I really am itching to see what that Electro Harmonix 5mm pedal sounds like, that setup, because that's the way I conceived it. And I've got to wait a month to see. So it was a bit of a disaster. And it's leading me to purchasing more equipment that I don't want to do. But again, like I said, at this point, I would rather, I'm giving guitars away to charity. I don't want to amass a bunch of guitars. Really happy with the ones that I have right now. I'm getting a great tone. The record's sounding great. And yeah, the two notes is a great thing to have. I really haven't gotten into it yet, to be honest with you. Give me a couple of weeks and then I'll give you more of a feedback on how I feel about it. I have the Magnum, same as the 5mm, just more power. They don't really have a sound. Exactly so. And that's why I'm not exactly happy with the Joyo, because as you know, this is modeled on a Marshall. And I don't want to feel, I'm trying to get something that has a clean, it's just a power amp. So yeah, that and the Moore. Moore has one that I'm actually seriously thinking about just buying. You know, I could have it here by Wednesday, Thursday if I put the order in with Tom on tonight, maybe even sooner. And I'm just buying the Baby Bomb. That's one you guys should check out. That is a 15 watt amp in a pedal. It's even smaller. It's actually the size of most. Yeah, this is a Moore pedal. Yeah, Moore pedal. So it's the same size of all Moore pedals. But it's a power amp. It's a 15 watt power amp called the Baby Bomb. No, I'm sorry, 60 watt. It's actually 60 watt power amp. So yeah, I'm looking for a clean power amp. So exactly so. That's right. I don't want something to color the sound of what I'm getting out of the F1 and the Blues Breaker. That's that combination. The Blues Breaker, the F1, and the Blues Breaker and the California sound are my favorite tones. To run that through a power amp and really just bump it up is what I'm trying to do with that. So yeah, I might just go ahead and order the Baby Bomb, because if I wait for Tom on, half of me is wishing that they just say, screw it. You're right. Hey, you're right. This is broken. Just send them another one. And maybe within a week or two, I can get a replacement sent to me. That would be ideal, but they're not talking that way. They're saying, hey, we're going to send it to our repair shop and we'll see if we'll get back to you in a month. Well, that Moore, it's The Mooer Baby Bomb is $70, same price, actually maybe $10 more than the Electro Harmonix 5mm. So yeah, I'm thinking about that. So yeah, it's kind of a disaster. But I will put up the video. It's actually, I did a short because I'm really trying to learn how to do the YouTube shorts. I like the concept of it. It's really has something that hasn't taken off, but I do like it. So I shot a short of that video, just showing you guys the pedal board, the layout, and how I made the connections. And I actually had to stack the Cab Zeus on top of the two notes because I wanted the connector between the feeding into that to be as short as possible. So yeah, guys, kind of disaster. We'll see how it goes. Where are we at? 38 minutes. Well, as you know, I like to keep these around 40 minutes. That seems to be the perfect amount of time. However, I do want to say to you guys, I'll expand it out as we grow and as we get more viewers and as we get this thing going. I'd like to start doing a question and answer kind of thing too. Not just here live when you put stuff up on the feed, but down in the comments section of this particular program. I would appreciate it if you guys came up with some questions of things that I can read for next week's show during this period, so then we can have another 20 minutes and stretch this out to an hour. I would really like to do that. I'd love to hear from you, and you guys have such great information. Blind Bob, last week was talking about Heritage guitars, and he was putting it up a couple of times by Heritage, and I looked into it, and yeah, the Heritage guys, they did. But if you're going direct, you're better off going preamp, two notes, DAW, or preamp, Cab Zeus. Yeah, exactly so. When I did try the Joyo there, the amp head there, I was getting a little clipping. Clipping that everything set at the same levels as before. The amp turned down actually very low, and I was still getting some clipping. I may cut the power amp all out altogether, and for now until I decide what I'm going to do. I would prefer to have it in a pedal form. I just think that the Joyo is too colored of a sound to be usable for what I want to do right now. So for the rest of this recording, I will be doing just preamps. A little bit of a shame, but hey, if it's working, no need to. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's kind of where I'm with that. But anyway, if you guys have things you want to talk about, questions, or if you have stories you want me to tell, or things you want to hear about, put it down in the comments section of live streams like this one. I always go back and I look at it every day because I want to see how many views did it get and did anybody make any comments. And of course, I respond back to every comment. One of the things they teach you at YouTube school is if you want to grow your channel, respect your viewers and respond to their comments. Like Bob, again, the Heritage guitar thing, he was right. Throwback does own two of the original machines. If you go to last week's live stream and down in the comment section, you'll see where I've posted a link where you can listen to the guy at Throwback talk about those. He has the receipts, guys, the original receipts from Gibson. But Heritage does have a lot of CNC machines. And so stuff like that is fascinating to me because it makes me want to do research so that I can come back and talk about it. So if there are things that you wish to discuss or you'd like to hear about or questions about things or my setup or anything like that, for these live streams, put it down in the comment section, and next week I'll read them on air here. Criticisms too. I can take the criticisms. Keep it nice though. Be kind. I'm old. What else? Yeah, I just want to hear from you guys. This is exciting to me. When I did my first live stream, I was extremely nervous. You look at it, I'm okay. But I was, oh my God, am I going to choke? Am I going to say burst bucker wrong? And now I'm on my fifth. This is my fifth or sixth, fifth, something like that. It feels comfortable. I can just sit here and chat. I know you're there, and it really is great just to sit here and have this kind of conversation. I can't do this with the YouTube videos because they have to be structured. It has to be the theme and what is the purpose of it, so that years down the line, people researching something like that can use it as a reference. Kind of the way I look at it. But these live streams, are my opportunity to just emote freely. Sometimes a little bit too freely. I still regret those Tokyo Tale stories I told you guys. And I didn't even I really didn't touch into most of the really raunchy things that happened. But it was a fun time. So let me hear from you guys. Let me hear what you think. Let me hear your thoughts, questions, or things of that nature. I really do appreciate. That was an interesting stream. Yeah, yeah, I knew it. Yeah, a little bit too interesting. Tokyo was wild. I can't believe. What is that? It's been 25, 30 years ago. It's shocking to me, because I still remember it. I remember sitting in the baby grand and the smell of cigarette smoke and me sitting behind that piano and looking out and looking across the room and looking at the customers and the girls and all the other weird stuff that was going on. And it's just like yesterday to me. So it's amazing to fast forward here. But I'm glad to be here. Some of my friends, unfortunately, are not here anymore. But so I'm glad just to be here. You have to understand, I'm glad to sit here every night. Thank you for the video. You can count them on me, same questions. I love the South Asian stories. Yeah, Ben, if you guys want to hear them, I'll tell them to you. I'll tell you some stories. Interesting ones and some weird ones too. I haven't told you my alien stories. Yeah, I got an alien story. A couple of them from Japan. I haven't told you my ghost story. The haunted house that I lived in the UK. I lived in the UK outside of London, a place called the Blackheath. And I lived in a house from a Admiralty house from 1888. It was made. This one I'm in right now is 1902. But 1888, this house was made in, and I was renting the basement flat. And that place was haunted. So, stories like that, I'd love to tell you. I'm not going to BS you. I'll tell you the truth of it. You can decide whether or not, maybe we'll save that for Halloween or something. Michael's ghost and alien stories, because I got a lot of them. If you travel the world like I have, if you live literally around the world like I have, and I've literally lived around the world, if you track from Los Angeles, Japan, to Singapore, UK, yeah, I'd love to tell them, Ben, I will. I'm not going anywhere. And if I don't tell these stories, who will? I've literally lived around. When you've lived in a lot of, spent your life on the road, you see a lot of things, guys. A lot of things that it changes your perspective. It really changes your viewpoint on a lot of things too. Some folks, it makes them crazy. Some folks it grounds you. But my motto, as you know, is to be like Smokey. And then faced with a ghost, I have to ask myself, what would Smokey do? He would smile at the ghost and say hello, would you like an autograph? So, yeah, that's a true story, though. I'll tell you that one sometime. So let me hear your comments, guys. Thank you for tuning in tonight and listening to my ramblings about how awesome things were in the Guitar Center 20 years ago. It was, though. It really was. The Sunset Strip in the 80s. Again, I'm happy I was there. I'm happy I was there. The whiskey, man, I'm happy I was there. I saw a cat playing a guitar on the corner across from the whiskey. There's a liquor store, and anyway, and he was in front of the liquor store in an adult party shop, in front of this magazine stand that sells LA Weekly. LA Weekly is like the scumbag newspaper of Los Angeles, but it's been around for like 30 years. And he was playing guitar, just a guy, just shredding, and he was amazing, amazing. And just full of cats like that. So it was an awesome time to grow up, to be in Los Angeles, and to be around all that energy. I was very fortunate, and I'd love to tell you guys those stories. All right, you guys take care. This week, I have no idea what I'm going to be filming for this week. I really don't, because I can't do the pedal thing that I planned. I guess even that carries into doing part two of the testing of the pickups that I wanted to do. Maybe I'll do that. So anyway, there will be a show this week. There'll be something for you to consume. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you tune in. And if you guys haven't subscribed with me, hit that subscription button and join the family here. Everybody here is awesome. I have the greatest community on YouTube you could imagine. And join in with it, and you'll see that's true yourself. All right, guys. You have a good evening, and God bless each and every one of you. Take care. Good night. Bye.